Hey Fandoms, me in for a comic show. It's another week of Marvel Legacy with Legacy Lenticulars. DC has a few cool stuff. There's some cool indie stuff, but this book I really liked. It's Cable with the homage of the New Mutants. I remember buying this issue off the shelf when I was a kid. I was in middle school, riding my bike to the comic book store, and I was reading New Mutants, and it got totally badass with this, with Cable. I mean, he's kind of like a Terminator. He just showed up and started whipping the kids into shape, and then it became X-Force. But this book, Ed Brison's writing it, the same guy that's writing Iron Fist and did some stuff for Black Mask. But there's a new purpose for the book, a new mission. All of these, came up with a new direction that's like, okay, what is the coolest thing we could do with these characters, with this book? What's something from the past that people want back? Or what's something we can go balls out with? And this is like Exiles. It looks like Exiles, where there's a book with Blink, who's on this team, Blink. She pulled characters from different realities, different dimensions, different Marvel Earths, and made a team. And they jumped through different Earths, and it was like, you know, Quantum Leap or whatever. But this, Cable is grabbing characters from the timeline at a specific point in their timeline where it would be most advantageous for them to be his soldiers. And one is Longshot, my favorite X-Men of all time. And it's right after the Longshot miniseries, so really cool place to pull him out of. Dupe from, you know where Dupe's from, Exile, Ecstatics and all that stuff. Shatterstar, X-23, not all new Wolverine, but X-23 as a weapon. And I dug this book. I liked it a lot. I'm down. You know, I like weird timey-wimey stuff with mutants, and Cable is good for it. When they did those little 4-page recaps of the character for Cable, somehow they condensed this thing of, he was the child of Jean Grey and Cyclops, but then there was this Goblin Queen, and then there was Apocalypse, and then there's this techno-organic virus, and then they stole the baby, and then he was like, had a robot arm and he was big, and now he's just doing crazy shit. Just go with it. Just go with it. I mean, or just pretend like he's the Terminator. I don't care. I'm not reading this book for Cable, honestly. I'm reading it for the cool team that he's putting together. And I liked it. This book, it's Death of Captain Marvel, Death of Thor, Thor 700. We just had Jason Aaron here signing for Legacy, and he told me that this is a huge, big deal book. It has tons of artists, pretty much like every artist he's worked with on Thor, and tons of characters, every Thor that's ever been, even Frog Thor. And a lot of stuff came to a head. There was some badass moments that I was just like, oh shit, what the, you know, crazy stuff like that. But it's issue 700. The homage cover is great, and it's ominous. It's ominous. We know that Jane Foster has cancer. She doesn't want any magical, godlike help for it, and we'll see what happens. I'm not spoiling anything, but a lot of things come to a head in this issue, and it's a great culmination 700 anniversary issue. Spider-Gwen, this is Todd McFarlane, Venom versus Spider-Man, and Gwenom versus Spider-Gwen, and it's a new story arc with Gwenom, like Venom but Gwenom, and they've had this plan forever, and I guess they waited to do this story with Legacy to give it a new direction, and it was pretty crazy. So if you're enjoying Spider-Gwen, it's great. Keep enjoying it. It's awesome. Iron Man, it's Invincible Iron Man. It's now on issue 593 because of the Legacy numbering, and it's the search for Tony Stark. So is Tony Stark back yet? I'm not going to tell you that. That's a spoiler. This is basically Ironheart and Infamous Iron Man Doom in the same book now, with a search for Tony Stark, things in it. It's everything Bendis was doing, smashed into one book and coming to a head. And obviously, if this is issue 593, Tony Stark will definitely be back for issue 600. I can guarantee it. I'd bet money on it. But Bendis is doing a great job with it, and I enjoyed that book. The Incredible Hulk, this is Return to Planet Hulk. It's issue 709 of Incredible Hulk, and it is Cho, even though Banner may not be back, was back in Secret Empire, we'll see. But it's him on Planet Hulk, on that whole crazy gladiator storyline that was probably my favorite Hulk book to date. I really enjoyed that when it came out, and he's there. So we can see how he would deal with that. So if that excites you, cool. You know, it's not Banner, but he might show up. We'll see. He definitely has experience on that planet. This Luke Cage, it's an homage with old Luke Cage and new Luke Cage. It's the same writer, David Walker, and Luke Cage is caged. Luke Cage deals with being arrested for bullshit, and now he's in jail. So let's see what happens. You know, like, tell me a story. Let's go. Obviously, Luke Cage's origin was he was wrongly convicted of something in the past, and now it looks like it's going to happen all over again. So read that recap and see what's going on, except this time he's a husband and father, so it's even more shitty for him. So we'll see what happens. This is The Champions, which is an homage to an Avengers annual, and it's the Champions versus Avengers, which you got the first part of that in Avengers. I think the renumbering was 672, and it's going to be a 4-part series. This is the second part. So 673 is the next part, and then a final part with Champions 14. So we get this, we get the two teams together, we get everything Wade was doing with them because he was writing both books, and it's pretty cool. And then Avengers No Surrender, which is going to be some badass weekly book for 16 weeks. So I'm kind of excited for that. And then Monster Unleashed, a book I wasn't reading, I wasn't paying attention to, but cool cover with Fantastic Four and monsters. And they have the coolest thing that they could have done with it, which I don't know if they had been doing it. I imagine they hadn't because someone would have told me, but Bloodstone's in it now. So she's in it, you know, from Next Wave was what I liked her the most in for Warren Ellis' Next Wave, but now she is a co-star of this book. So, you know, I'll read it for a little while and see how well they do her, because I love that character. Moving on, Star Wars, Captain Phasma, Part 4, the finale is out, and this leads directly into Last Jedi movie. Like, specifically, the very last panel says, follow her into Last Jedi. It got her from being in that trash chute, supposedly, possibly dying in the explosion of Starkiller Base, to where she needs to be with the First Order again for Last Jedi. So this is a good book. It's a fun book. It's a necessary story for her. I don't know how they're going to do it in the movie, if they're just going to have a throwaway line like, glad you survived, but we got to see her being a total badass for 4 issues. It was awesome. And then also for Star Wars, we have Star Wars Adventures, the first collection from IDW, the all-ages Star Wars Heroes of the Galaxy, and it's a $9.99 trade. So get that for any younger Star Wars fan that you know, which there are plenty. You know, I've had my daughter read it. She likes it. She loves Rey. Moving on to DC, Batman 33, the War of Joke and Riddles is over. This is Rules of Engagement. Clever. The engagement obviously is of Batman and Catwoman. Spoiler, USA Today spoiled it months ago, but this is their engagement. This is them going out in the desert on a horse with no name, wearing leather and vinyl and whatever they wear, sweating their balls off, and doing whatever they're doing to to lead up to their wedding, supposedly. We'll see. I don't want to spoil what they're doing in the desert because it's actually kind of cool. Moving on, Dark Knights, Batman the Drowned. It's another metal tie-in with a foil cover. It's Aquaman. She is from Earth 11, which they were the female Earth. If you read Multiversity and all that, you don't have to know that. That's just what it is. So it's the origin of this character, as all these, like Red Death and War Machine and Dawnbreaker have been. This is how this character got fused with the Batman, and they're evil, and they're here now, and they're going to kill everyone on our Earth. So that's their mission. So we get to see where she came from, why she wants to drown everyone, and it's fun. I've really enjoyed these. They're just one and done origin type issues done by the actual creative team, the actual writer. Dan Abnett wrote this, who writes Aquaman. It's solid. If you're reading Aquaman, check it out. If you're reading Metal, probably check it out if you're interested at all in the Aquaman character. And finally, Warren Ellis, Wildstorm. The Wildstorm is out in a collection. This is Warren Ellis putting a new spin on the whole Wildstorm universe. He's in control of it all, and he has them in a universe that the DC characters exist in, but they're more the antagonists. Like in the Michael Cray book, Green Arrow is absolutely evil. And here you see different things from the DC universe in the background, but the camera's not following any of that stuff. It's one step in the future, dystopian, obviously. Our future is not bright. And it's that kind of sci-fi stuff that Warren Ellis does so well, mixed with the characters that Jim Lee created. And I think it came out pretty great. I was never really that into Wildstorm other than when great writers I like wrote them, and that's what this is. It's Warren Ellis back on the characters. Image this week, I really dug this Maestros comic. It's by Steve Scrossi. He drew the book with Brian K. Vaughan, We Stand on Guard. This he writes, draws, inks, does all that, everything but the color. And this character is very douchebaggy, very shitty, opportunistic protagonist, kind of like Constantine, kind of has magician type stuff, and he does deals and swindles people, and I really liked it. I like this Texas oil man. I hope he gets his comeuppance in future issues, but it was enjoyable. The art is absolutely beautiful, and the story was engaging. It's totally for mature readers. It says mature on the back. I'm serious, it has full frontal male nudity, but in a pretty hilarious way in my opinion. So I enjoyed that. Check it out. The art is great. Also, creator-owned Jeff Lemire, Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil. It looks like he's taking a page from Hellboy, doing spin-off type miniseries, series of miniseries and whatnot. This is the villain from Black Hammer. If you like Black Hammer, absolutely, positively get this. I love Black Hammer. I pulled this book for every subscriber of Black Hammer, and I think you should get it. It's not them trying to get more money from you. This is coming out this month instead of Black Hammer, and it was awesome, and it was creepy, and I really enjoyed it, so check it out. This is weird. Kid Lobotomy, Black Crown. I was actually really excited for Black Crown. I like what they're doing. I like the books they're putting out. I like that there's a little bit of connectivity. It feels a whole lot like early Vertigo when they did Totems and the different creator-owned Vertigo stuff. And it's the editor from Vertigo, Shelley Bond. She is the one spearheading this whole initiative. And it's Peter Milligan, who wrote for Vertigo, wrote Shade the Changing Man, wrote Hellblazer. And the art's great. It's Tess Fowler, who was on Rat Queens recently. And the book is really trippy. It's really weird with mental issues. And I dug it. I really liked it. I'm excited for more of this world. I'm excited for more of this vibe. I don't know if it's just for me specifically, being a 40-year-old guy that read Vertigo back in the day and was into punk rock then and all that stuff, but it's definitely cool to me, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm also interested in their next book, Assassinistas, which is previewed in here, and Teenie Howard's writing it with Gilbert Hernandez on art. That looks awesome. So check out Black Crown. It's a sub-imprint, a pop-up imprint of IDW, in the similar way that Young Animal is a pop-up imprint of DC. So I really dug it, so check that out. And then finally, yeah, it's crazy. Yes, I'm a sucker for nostalgia, but Rugrats #1 is out, and it was super fun. The art style is different than the cartoon show, but like, how are they really gonna get those animators? Like, are they even not retired now? What was this, 20 years ago? But I enjoyed the art. It had the same flavor and the same fun of Rugrats. Now I do have Rugrats of my own now, so maybe I'm relating to it in that way too, but I did watch this show when it first came out, and this comic is here. If you have any nostalgia itch to scratch for Rugrats, it's definitely well done. So Rugrats, awesome. Thanks guys, enjoy some comics this week, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.